Alright, we're back for part 3. So first, I'm going to show you how to sleep. We would normally never sleep at this point in the run, but I'm making a tutorial, and a little more time is passing than is typical. Anyway, so in the chief's house, just run into this bed, and you'll get 3 options here. This first one simply dismisses the menu. This third option asks if you want to save or not. We are going to use that third option later. The second option asks you, essentially just sleeps. And that's what we want to do here. Normally, from this point, we would run into this house here, like so, and immediately to the right and talk to this guy. He'll join our party. Some of the longer text boxes in the game are in this segment. And then we want to go back to the other area that we were in where we found Doraemon, which is called Emerald Lake, for reference. Here, we want to continue forward, and then immediately cut left and hug this wall. You'll see this up here. This is called the Ultimate Stopwatch. We're going to use that item very soon, and we need to pick it up, so we might as well pick it up now while we're close. Then, you just want to hold forward, run across this field, and then we have our second bit of platforming in the run. Keep in mind, in the top right corner of the screen, you can see the time. But more so importantly than the time, you can see a symbol in the center. Right now, you see a fire symbol. Normally, you would not see this symbol there. This indicates the type of day that it is. This comes in handy later. We're not going to talk about it now, but keep that in mind. Normally, you would see a sun in that logo, or in that little icon at this point in the run. Anyway, try to short hop and get a good straight line across these. That was really bad. Try to get a short hop and jump straight across these. Keep in mind, if you try to do something like this, for example, you can make it, sure, but you can't control your jumps very much in the air in terms of trying to adjust the direction. So you want to try and make as straight of a line as possible when doing any sort of platforming, like so. From here, continue to hold forward, and we're going to walk into these trees until you see a couple text boxes here, like so. That puts an item in our inventory. This fruit. We never use it for anything, but the game will not advance without it in our inventory. Turn around, and we're going to go back across these platforms. Again, try to get a nice straight line. It makes platforming much easier. It's important to try and use sharp angles when on the ground, if you're going to have to do 2 jumps in a row on platforms that don't have a straight line. So if you have to change directions quickly and then do another jump onto a different platform, for example, try to use a good sharp angle while you're on the ground and make sure you have enough space to get momentum from turning. Anyway, this little character is essentially the point of the game. This is the God of Light. He tells us that the crystal we got at the beginning of the game in Crystal Forest needs to be returned to the pedestal in the Temple of Light. And in order to do that, we have to gather 3 crystals from across the world of Crystaka to access a portal that takes us to the Temple of Light. Of course. Anyway, this is one of the longer text triggers in the game. I'll mash through it as quick as I can. For the sake of demonstration, let's go. Okay, there's another pretty long one coming up, but from that cutscene, you're going to want to come off this edge. Don't walk past the edge of the beach or you'll void out pretty quickly like that. You'll lose some time. Instead, try to just stay in the shallows, and then after you get past this apex right here, continue forward, and you'll walk straight into a cutscene trigger. In this cutscene, we meet our villains. They are kind of comic relief villains, but they do have some cool character development story-wise. I'm not going to go too much into story elements. That's not the purpose of this tutorial. But I am going to try to use correct terminology, but I'll be frank, I do not know the names of these villains. So after the cutscene, you'll get one of the other longer text triggers in the game. Mash through it as quick as you can. Walk forward. And then use the ultimate stopwatch. Try to be a little bit more better between them, so you don't get stuck on the geometry of either of them. Anyway, after you go past them, keep in mind when I walked past them there, I was not controlling my character. The game did that for me after using the ultimate stopwatch. But anyway, mash through these text triggers, and then you'll get a couple more text triggers. Next, in order to advance the game, we have to sleep. So sleep. Then, go down right to go through the door and out of the house. Normally, it would not be raining right now. Keep that in mind. Normally, the fire symbol would be in the top right corner of the screen right now, and there would be no rain. Anyway, when you come outside, talk to this younger NPC here, this kid, and then hold down right. And we're going to go back to Silveron Plains for our last visit there. As soon as you come out here, we'll get a cutscene with the villains. Essentially, what the kid told us is that these guys came and stole a red crystal that belonged to the town. Lore-wise, these guys are thieves from the 22nd century. And they're just looking for treasure, more or less. And willing to do just about anything to get it, of course. So after the cutscene, notice it warps us almost to where they are. We're gonna immediately come around. Try to jump up here as quick as you can. We'll get some text boxes. Then we want to go towards them. You'll get just a few more text boxes when you get close. And then a little logo with Sue there. That's when you go to your menu. And we use this. This, weirdly enough, is the bucket that we picked up in Silveron Plains earlier. It's called Invisible Paint. It does exactly what it sounds like it does. And now we're invisible. Walk into the crystal. And mash A. You can stop mashing A here. And start mashing A around here-ish. There you go. A few text boxes. It warps us straight back into Aberk Village. We're going to go up left and back into the chief's house. However, notice this sort of place, this apex in geometry. You can see like a seam line right here to the right of my character. There's a text box that triggers pretty much right when we go over that, where we talk to that person standing near the door. We're going to jump, do a really big jump across that seam and dismiss as many text boxes in the air as possible. This will put us closer to the door after we're done with the text trigger. Like so. It's small, but it adds up. Here, we meet the other archaeologist, scientist kind of character. Anytime this character is in the mix, you know you're about to go to a dungeon. So once this cutscene's over, come up here. Oops. Talk to him. He'll join our party. And then leave the house. Then go up right from here. And we're going to go back to Emerald Lake. There are a lot of repeat trips in this run. From here, come over here across this bridge. And continue back to where we found Doraemon earlier. You'll see this stone in the back. Touch it. Mash A immediately after you see that text box appear. And then we're going to go back across the bridge. The goal in this segment of the game is to hit walk into 3 stones. It'll open the first dungeon. So from here, you can jump up like so. You want to go up right. And you'll see the second stone out on this little plateau. Immediately cut left. This is a bit of a tricky part. we're gonna go to this platform here. You can try to cut a deeper angle if you want to save a little bit of time, but it's quite tricky. Anyway, we come across. We're gonna go upright, and we're gonna collect this object here, which is the paper boat. We'll need it later. You can cut this corner here, and you can cut this corner here if you really want to. Then we hit the third tablet. This makes a fourth tablet appear back in the platforming. Then we get a text box. As soon as you dismiss the text box, a 30-second timer appears, and you have 30 seconds to reach the fourth tablet. So we're gonna go fast. Try to keep up. Let's go. Notice how I turn the camera as I get around those pieces of geometry. It allows me to more or less just keep my joystick held in the up notch position. So jump, left notch as soon as I land like that. It allows me to cut that corner pretty tight for how limited the directional range of jumping is in this game. Then we get a cutscene where the first dungeon that we go to rises out of the water. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Look at it. And the game makes sure that you know it, too. It's gonna pan around the entire back of it and then go back around to the front of it. Marvelous. Anyway, after that cutscene's over, you'll get a couple text boxes. Mash through. Then hold right, jump here, and as soon as you land, hold down right to jump here, and then down left to make it across. Our angle was a little weird camera-wise, so we just about fell here. Ideally, I would land more about here from the final jump. Like, so. Anyway, after that, continue in this direction. We're going to go to the end of this dock. Once after that text box there goes away, and it dismisses on its own. Use the paper boat. Mash through here. Hold kind of leftish. You'll see the doors of the dungeon open. And then go in. You'll get a prompt asking you if you want to save. I'm going to choose yes for the sake of this being a tutorial. However, it's worth noting, choosing no is faster. But it's also worth noting that you don't have to choose no. You can just mash B through this particular thing. Then it'll ask you which character you want to choose. This is where we will resume the next part where we do the entirety of Helion Ruins.